So let us begin this discussion. Let us begin this presentation in the name of the Almighty, most merciful, most glorious. May the peace of the Almighty be with you all. May the peace of the Almighty guide you. May the peace of the Almighty guide your family. May the peace of the Almighty show you the right path to follow. I really want to appreciate everyone for tuning in. May God bless you all. So we are going to discuss compatibility testing, and we're going to lay emphasis on the HB genotype and the Rhesus Incompatibility, or the Rhesus Compatibility testing. So we are going to discuss this in direction to you having a spouse. So this is purely like a pre-relationship testing, which we are going to explain what would happen if you get married to someone with these issues not addressed. So if you're joining in, you have maybe a question concerning this, please keep in the comment section and we are going to talk it out. If you're joining and you have been having maybe misunderstanding, because there are a lot of questions people are asking concerning compatibility testing, people thinking that, oh, come on, if I have this type of blood group, can I get married to this woman? If my genotype is like this, can I get married to this person? So whatsoever question you have concerning compatibility, please put your question in the comment section. We'll try our best to respond to it. May God bless you. Thank you. So compatibility actually just means that you're being compatible with some other person to do a lot of things, right? You might be compatible in character, you might be compatible in whatsoever thing you do, but compatibility in general, meaning that both of you agree and you have some sort of similar way of doing things. But here we are talking about your genes having something in common, that when they come together, they don't cause any damage to the system. We are talking here about genes coming together and you having children with those children having no problem at all. Because if the compatibility is not suited, you might start having children and these children might have issues, or you might have and maybe the child will die. So that is why there is compatibility testing, and it is important for everyone to actually make sure that you have done this before you even start a relationship. I used to call it pre-relationship testing, because by the time you take on this, you will see that it will avoid you from having issues in future. But if you maybe pay little attention to this, then it is possible that you might get married and you start having issues with your subsequent children. So generally with us in Africa and within my community, there is Bamenda, which is one of the towns of Cameroon. We lay emphasis on the HB genotype. The HB genotype. The HB genotype is actually known by you doing the HB electrophoresis test. So before you get married, you will be run some tests and you will see this HB electrophoresis listed among one of the tests that you will run. The HB electrophoresis test, when you run the test, you will now come out with the HB genotype. The genotype for your HB, which is genotype for your hemoglobin, will tell you if you are normal The sickle cell trait, meaning you have adult hemoglobin that is okay, or you have an adult hemoglobin that has a little bit of the sickle hemoglobin attached to it. That will be AS, and we call that one the sickle cell trait. Or you are a sickler, meaning you have the two sickle cell trait, the SS, and it therefore means you are a sickler. So by the time you do this test, the HB electrophoresis test is to come out with any of these results. That is the stereo result. Either you're normal, or you have a trait, or you are a sickler. Generally, this test is done alongside other tests. So your blood grouping will be done, your other tests for STDs will be done. So you have blood grouping, you have HIV, you have hepatitis B, you have hepatitis C, you have syphilis. All of these are done at the same time which your HB electrophoresis is done. The importance of doing other tests like the HIV, the hepatitis B, the hepatitis C, syphilis, and even chlamydia is because these are infections that you can have, and eventually they may be actually transmitted to the child if the mother is infected at birth, or they may also cause you, the mother, not carrying your baby maybe to term. You may have a preterm level because of you not actually doing this test and treating yourself if you are positive for any of the infections. So the HB electrophoresis test, which is done to know your HB genotype, is done alongside these other tests. By the time you do all of these tests and you see your HB electrophoresis comes out as AA, it means your hemoglobin is okay. And with this type of hemoglobin, that is termed the hemoglobin AA, you can get married to any of the other persons. It therefore means someone with hemoglobin AS, meaning that person has a trait, you can get married to that person. Another person, hemoglobin SS, you can get married to that person as well, meaning that person is sickler, you can get married to that person as well. If your hemoglobin comes out to be AS, meaning you have a trait of the sickle cell, you are advised to get married only to someone who is AA. If your hemoglobin is SS, meaning you are a sickler, it therefore means you can only get married to someone who is AA. If you get married to someone who is AS as an AS person, it therefore means your hemoglobin is AS and you're getting married to someone who is AS. What is the implication? The implication is that you could have children that are SS, meaning you could have children that are sickler. And to have children that are sickler, it is some sort of a heavy burden financially. And if you find yourself where we are, in which healthcare is not easy, it's pretty expensive, then you will see that what having those children will not be easy on you financially. And that child or the children may die because you will not be able to follow up with the medical care. So that is why if you are AS, you are advised to get married to someone that is AA. Like I always say, in the developed world, they may not have time with these because they have institutions that will take care of these children. But within our communities, within a part of the world, things are tough, you have to take care of the child yourself, nobody's going to help you out. So that is why you doing this test such that you avoid having kids that are AS or having kids that are SS. It's very important, because by avoiding you from having kids that are SS, it therefore means you're also maximizing the way you use money, right? Because if you do not, let me say, you go on to have your kids and maybe 2 or 3 or even 1 came out to be SS, it's a huge burden, isn't it? You're going to spend a lot, take the child to the hospital frequently, and if the child maybe needs something really, really heavy, like maybe bone marrow transfer, will you be able to do that? Will you be able to do that? It will be pretty expensive. That's why we advise that you make sure that you do this compatibility. And for HB electrophoresis, that to know the HB genotype, once you do this compatibility and it shows that you are actually AS and your partner is AS, it is preferable you don't proceed with that marriage. Okay, it's preferable you don't proceed with it. Do not compare with maybe other couples that they live happily. Maybe their kids came out to be normal. You don't know what will happen to you, because this thing is a probability. It is a probability. The other compatibility has to do with the blood grouping. It has to do with blood grouping. So with blood grouping, normally we have 2 systems of blood grouping that is being carried out during blood grouping. There is the ABO and the Rhesus system. But what we are interested in here is the Rhesus system. Because for the Rhesus system of blood grouping, when you do your Rhesus system of blood grouping, you're doing to know if somebody is Rhesus positive or Rhesus negative. Now, as a lady, if you're Rhesus negative, this is very important, and this is where the compatibility comes in as a lady. If you're Rhesus negative as a lady, getting pregnant to a Rhesus positive man, which is a likely probability because there are more Rhesus positive than Rhesus negative. So we have about 90-something% of the population are Rhesus positive. So if you're Rhesus negative as a lady, the probability will be that you will likely get married to someone who is Rhesus positive. And because you will likely get married to someone who is Rhesus positive, it is more likely that you will have a child that is Rhesus positive, and this will actually cause mixture of blood during delivery, or if you have a miscarriage even, this will not cause you for your blood to be synthesized. And if your blood is synthesized, your future children, you could be having issues with these children in terms of maybe you might be having miscarriages, or you might actually have the child and the child develop hemolytic disease of the newborn, or you might right up to maybe 9 months and the child dies immediately after birth because of lack of blood, because during mixture of this blood that's causing Rhesus incompatibility, you actually have the mother's blood mixing with the child's blood, and the system recognize this child as a foreigner because the mother's blood has been synthesized already. Once the mother's blood has been synthesized already, it causes the mother's blood to recognize this child as a foreigner, and it will stimulate antibodies to destroy this child. Because of this stimulation of antibodies, the child red cells may be destroyed, and that is why the child may die, maybe just immediately after birth. So it is very important, very vital that you do your blood grouping, and if you do this blood grouping, you see that your rhesus negative as a lady, then it is important that you check your past life. If you've maybe aborted before or you had a miscarriage before, then you make sure that if you had a miscarriage before or you aborted before, when getting married, if you can have a rhesus negative man, excellent. But if not, you have to talk with your doctor for care to be taken, because your blood may have been synthesized. And if your blood has been synthesized already, it could cause this hemolysis of the newborn, hemolytic disease of the newborn, or it could cause miscarriages, or you might carry a child out to 9 months and the child dies. And that is pretty scary for you to carry a child out to 9 months and the child dies. So it is very important that you take this very seriously and you make sure that you protect your future children to the best of your knowledge. Like I said, a lot of questions we'll try to answer some questions here that we ask through WhatsApp, through Messenger, from many other people out there. So if you have a question about compatibility testing, please keep your question in the comment section. We'll try to see how we can answer that. Just put your question directly here. We'll try to see how we can answer that. While we'll try to see how we can answer other questions that we asked by other people. Excuse me. So we will try to answer some of the questions that were asked by some people on WhatsApp, asked on Messenger. So there was a question someone asked. The person asked that she has heard that someone with rhesus negative, a lady with rhesus negative, will never get pregnant from a rhesus positive person if she aborts. So that was a question that was asked in the WhatsApp group, and I would like to say that if you're rhesus negative as a lady, rhesus negative does not stop you from getting pregnant. It has nothing to do with you getting pregnant. Rhesus incompatibility has nothing to do with your fertility. That is, it does not stop you from getting pregnant, but it can have an effect on you carrying your baby right up to 9 months, because you may have miscarriages because of rhesus incompatibility. It can also have an effect that you could carry that baby right up to 9 months and the baby dies. Or you may deliver the child have hemolytic disease of the newborn. So if you are rhesus negative and you've aborted, you had a miscarriage before, it will not stop you from getting pregnant. We should take note. It doesn't stop you from getting pregnant. It can only have an effect that you will become pregnant, but the baby might not stay because of the rhesus incompatibility. So that should be made known. Another question someone asked is, can blood group A get married to blood group O? Blood group in general has nothing to do with you getting married. Whether you are which blood group, you can get married. The only issue we have is what we have just explained about rhesus incompatibility. The only issue we have is as a result of the rhesus factor. If you are rhesus negative as a lady, then getting married to a rhesus positive person, man, which is a more likely probability that you will get married to someone which is rhesus positive, could have maybe an impact. If you're rhesus negative and you've had maybe an abortion without taking the anti-D serum, or a miscarriage without taking an anti-D serum, or You've been pregnant before and you put to bed without taking the anti-D serum. So whatsoever blood group, your blood group A, you can get married to A, you can get married to B, you can get married to AB, you can get married to O. If you are B, you can get married to any other as well. If you're AB, you can get married to any other as well. If you're O, you can get married to any other as well. So it does not stop you from getting married. If your blood group A, it doesn't stop you from getting married to any other blood group. But if the ratios of your blood grouping, remember in blood grouping, we have two systems. We have the ratio system and we have the ABO system. So the system that comes in here is the ratio system of blood grouping, not the ABO. The ABO is blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, blood group O. The ratios is either your ratios positive or your ratios negative. So the dilemma here is for people who are ratios negative. So if you're a young lady and your ratios negative, and you've had abortion before, you had a miscarriage before, then it is possible that your blood has been synthesized already. It is possible there's been a mixture of your blood with the baby's blood, which was rhesus positive, because the reason for you to take an injection called the anti-D serum is to avoid this mixture, such that subsequently you can have your child without any problem. Because once you have this mixture, what happens is that your system, the lady's system, actually reacts and produces antibodies, because there have been a mixture of somebody with blood group that has rhesus positive. Once you have that blood group that has rhesus positive mixes with someone with rhesus negative, the system recognizes this rhesus positive as a foreign agent. So the system recognizes it as a foreign agent, and what it does is that it tries to prepare itself against